Hey, what's up guys, this is Destiny Cat. I'm bringing you something quite new today. This is going to be the first episode of a new video series, which is going to be called Injustice 2 Tips and Tricks. This is basically going to explain to you somewhat the things that I think about when I personally play, against especially online opponents, but also when I prepare myself for matchups. Basically the thoughts that go through my mind when I play. Obviously, I'll heavily be referring to characters that I play through this video series, since I don't play every character in the game. I'll mostly be referring to the characters I play, but you can apply these tricks to a lot of the characters, other characters in the game as well. So don't worry about character loyalism or me playing specific characters that much. So the first video here is basically going to be called, yes, you can see by the title, it's called Stay One Step Ahead, or SOSA for short, Stay One Step Ahead, SOSA. And what does this mean exactly? What am I referring to when I say stay one step ahead? Well, I'm referring to reading your opponent, anticipating your opponent's next move. Why is this so important in fighting games is the question that you need to ask yourself before you can understand the complexity of reading, because whoever reads the opponent basically has the initiative, because he's gonna know what the opponent is going to do before he does it. Therefore, he can punish him, he can avoid it, he can get out of the way of things that are about to come, because he knows that the opponent might jump or throw a projectile now or try to wake up attack here. Reading is something that exists at the lowest level of play, but also at the highest level. And the higher you get among these levels of players, the more complicated and difficult the reads are going to be. But they always involve some of the same key aspects, and that's really what I want to get into today, and how you can implement them into your own game. Keep in mind, this might take you a while to get used to, especially if you're new to fighting games. If you're an experienced fighting game player, then you probably already know about this, but this will give you a little bit more of information about exactly what I think when I play fighting games, when I try to read my opponent. So, ideally you want to stay ahead of your opponent, maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 moves. And what I mean by that is, if you know that the opponent is going to wake up attack and you can punish them for it, then if you also know that after you punish them, they're going to do something else. If you can predict, moves forward, if you can predict what the next thing is going to happen, if you know exactly what that is, you just generally are going to win the game. If you can always read your opponent correctly, then you're going to win the game 99 out of 100 times, because you know exactly what he's going to do. Obviously, it's very hard to read every single time and be correct about it. It's very hard to be correct about every single read. Some players can do it sometimes. I've seen some players do some insane reads. I don't know if you heard about it. I think it was Tekken Master or something, who got better that I think it was someone who needed to throw him, in MKX. He just throw him in different directions, and he take every single throw. That's what I call staying one step ahead. He knew exactly whether the opponent was going to throw him, backwards or forwards. And by the way, in MKX, if you want to take a throw, you have to press different buttons depending on which side the opponent throws you. So you have to. It's a 100% guessing game, 100% mix, and he didn't get thrown a single time. He teched every single goddamn one of those throws. That is what I'm talking about. That is what you need to implement into your own game. Being able to read consistently and staying one step ahead. This little video is mainly going to be focused on playing, if you're playing an aggressive character, because aggressive characters generally have an easier time using this technique right here, and I'll get into why that is a bit later. But since I'm playing Blue Beetle a lot, as you can see here, Blue Beetle is my main character. He's a very aggressive character. he wants to have initiative through the whole game. Therefore, he's very relying on reading your opponent correctly. If you read your opponent wrong, you lose initiative. Therefore, you lose tempo, and you probably lose the game as well if you aren't careful with him. But my point is that Blue Beetle is very aggressive. He's very aggressive. Very aggressive, tempo-based, stylish character that tries to really dominate through the whole game. Obviously, this whole reading thing can be applied to every character. So if you're playing a defensive character like Aquaman, for example, you can definitely apply this to him as well. It will just be a little bit different, and it might be a little bit harder because, well, I'll get to that now. When you're being aggressive with a character in Injustice 2, I don't know about some of the other fighting games, but specifically in Injustice 2, the opponent, if you can keep the aggression on, your opponent is going to lose, options. He won't be able to do as many things as he could if you weren't being aggressive. So to say that you get the opponent in the corner, what options does the opponent have on knockdown? Well, not many, I'd say. He has. Let's just go through all the options that you have. You knock them down. Let's just say a normal knockdown, like say shield bash in the corner with the Beetle. What options does your opponent have here? Well, he has a wake up attack, which is something that a lot of people will do. So if you can read that, then you're already good. He has delayed wake up, which is a little bit harder, but that's also a read you can do. He has a roll, which isn't very good, tech roll, but that's not very good. And then he has just get up. So that's 4 different things in the corner. So if you knock the opponent down in the corner, they lose, or just generally, but especially in the corner, they lose a lot of initiative and they don't have a lot of options. So that means that when you knock the opponent down in the corner, you have to think about these 4 different things that the opponent can do, which is wake up attack, delay wake up attack. I forgot that one, but you get the idea. Wake up attack, delayed wake up attack, delayed wake up, just standing up, and tech rolling. Those are, I think, the 5 ones that the opponent can do. Now, obviously some people will throw you or whatever, but those are the basic ones that you need to account for. So if you can guess right on those every time, you can see where I'm going with this, right? If you can guess right on those different options every single time, you're going to be beating your opponent 99 out of 100%, percent of the time. And that's really what I want to get into. If you can just read your opponent consistently, you have the advantage all the time. So you wanna, whenever you do something in the game, you wanna look at, okay, what options does my opponent have here, and what do you think he's gonna go for? And you'll be surprised at how easy it is to read people, especially online, when you really start to learn these things. I know this is kind of a high level for a lot of you players. I have some people on friends list who might have a hard time understanding this and getting good at it, but it is a very high level of thing. But it's something you need to practice, because reads is something that exists at all levels of Injustice or fighting games. Like I said, it's something that exists everywhere. But they become more complicated the higher up in level you go. So if you're fighting a player like Sonic Fox, you can expect the reads in that game to be on point and insane. And some of the reads that Sonic Fox makes are ungodly. It's almost or godly, should I say? It's almost impossible to believe that he made some of the reads he did. But he did make those reads. It was totally a read, and it wasn't input error. It was when he punishes you for this, or when he anticipates you doing something, it is usually a read when Sonic Fox does it. But a lot of the same, things are going to be present in both the low level and the high level. A lot of the same scenarios are going to occur, but the difference is just that good players will generally tend to use more, good options or safe options than other players. So you want to think about this. What is the most likely thing my opponent is going to do now? What would you do in this situation? You should need to ask yourself. What would my opponent do in this situation? And you have to think very fast, of course, because if you use too much time dilly-dallying around and thinking, you're going to lose the game likely. Because so you have to be a quick thinker, and you have to be very good at reacting, and then you also have to have a good anticipation ability, I guess you could say. So good players will generally not go for a lot of unsafe wake-up attacks, so we can always scratch that off the list most of the time, right? But sometimes they will, and that's when you have to be prepared for them as well. And obviously, if you play a lot of games with the same guy, you learn his patterns. I've played a bunch of games versus some players like Chip United, for example. I kind of understand his patterns and what he likes to do and what he likes to play. And I play against Jamie so many times, and I also know that he likes doing this and that. I play against a lot of other people as well. I play against both good and bad players, better than me, worse players than that. I played against so many people at different levels, and I am obviously not, I'm obviously not, a pro player, but I do understand some of these concepts, and this video series is really going to explain a lot of them to you. But this is just the first video, and this is something you need to practice. So remember, SOSA, remember that, which stands for stay one step ahead. Remember that phrase, SOSA. It's very important, and I'm going to probably make shorter versions of the the sentence. So stay one step ahead would be SOSA, and then some other sentence would be something else in another video. But this was just my first video, and I hope that it gave you some light on some stuff. I sadly don't have a lot of examples, but if you want some examples, just look how Sonic Fox plays, because he makes a lot of really insane reads, and he's Sonic Fox is a master of staying one step ahead of the opponent. He's also a master of anticipation and reading, and this is something that you want to learn if you want to be good at fighting games. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Next video will be out shortly, I hope, if I have the time for making it, and if I get it going. But this video hopefully gave you some kind of explanation as to how at least I think when I play fighting games. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Destiny Cat signing out.